This is the Bricks and Bleachers podcast, all things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. An exciting weekend series between the Cubs and Cardinals. We'll recap that. We'll also talk about the Cubs offense coming alive in recent weeks and my pick for best surprise of the first quarter of the Cubs 2021 season. Cubs are 2 games back in the National League Central, 24-22, the record after taking 2 of 3 in St. Louis over the weekend. Sunday night topped off with a 10th inning home run from Javi Baez, a really thrilling moment to punctuate that weekend series. Kyle Hendricks is back to 4-4 on the year after a shaky start to the season. He pitched into the 7th Friday night, left the game up 4-3. Cubs added 8 runs in the 8th, a 12-3 win to start the series. Doesn't get much bigger than that. Adbert Alzolay with a nice outing on Saturday night, but came up on the wrong side of a 2-1 decision. Alzolay turned in 7 innings, giving up 2 runs on just 5 hits, picked up 6 strikeouts. And then the Sunday night finale featured Zach Davies and Adam Wainwright as the starting pitching matchup. Davies with 5 innings pitched, only 4 hits given up. Cubs offense gave him nothing to work with. The bats were silenced much of the night. If I recall, the first time the Cubs had a runner in scoring position was the free runner at second base to begin the 10th inning. Tommy Nance got in a jam in the 7th inning. Ryan Tepera inherited a bases-loaded situation, pitched out of the inning with no runs given up, and that includes at-bats from Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Really impressive outing for Tepera out of the Cubs bullpen. Javi Baez delivered a monstrous 2-run home run to center field in the 10th inning. Craig Kimbrell would give up a run in the bottom of the 10th, but secured the win for the Cubs 2-1. Series win for the Cubs 2-1, cutting the National League Central Division lead to just 2 games. So the Cubs offense got off to an almost historically slow start in April. The first 2 weeks, man, that offense was atrocious, but they have really turned it on as of late. One of the hottest offenses in Major League Baseball during the last 5 weeks, putting up more than 5 runs per game, among league leaders in a number of other metrics, too. Now, for the year, Cubs are still batting just .237. That's like midway in Major League Baseball. Chris Bryant still leading the way above .300. He's been above .300 most of the year. Javi Baez has leapfrogged him for the team lead in home runs. Javi has 11 on the year, KB at 10, and Ian Happ now up to 6, including a stretch of 4 home runs out of 6 games last week. Interesting tweet from Buster Olney before Sunday's game. He notes the Cubs have the National League's highest on-base percentage rate, leading off innings this year at .343. In the National League this year, teams score 49% of the innings where the leadoff man reaches base. As mentioned, Cubs are 46 games into the season, so that's a tad bit more than a quarter of the season behind us. At this point, I'm going to say my biggest surprise has been Adbert Alzolay. Here's a guy who is really coming into his own. He's still young. He's got so much potential. And at the beginning of the year, it seemed like you would just be thrilled to get 5 innings from him. You know that the talent is there, but he needed to build up some endurance. And that seems to be happening now. He's getting more efficient as well. 18 innings in his last 3 starts, and he hasn't issued a single walk during that stretch. He keeps his whip, walks and hits per innings pitched below 1 for the entire span of the year so far. But he does have a tendency to give up a home run or 2 each outing. I think his maturity, his growth is the biggest surprise for the Cubs so far this year. He has had a history of injuries in his minor league career. They're keeping an eye on him. They're letting him slowly build up his strength and confidence, but I think they're doing a good job with him. And he's certainly not the only good story so far for the Cubs in 2021. That's my pick for best story so far. Interested to hear yours. Tweet us at Bricks Bleachers. Justin Steele could certainly be a candidate for biggest surprise. He has been really just a stellar performance, it seems, day in and day out as he comes out of the bullpen. Currently injured, but it'll be nice to see him back on the field soon. Jake Arrieta with 4 wins so far this year. Very nice start with his return. And then Matt Duffy has pretty much taken over as the Cubs' day-to-day third baseman. That prop bet would have had huge odds and a big payday because no one expected that. I mean, going back to mid-April, I really didn't view Duffy as much more than just a roster filler at that point. Okay, he's going to be up for a matter of days, and then he'll get bumped out by Nico Horner or someone else. And you got to say, Duffy has performed really nicely, earning his spot on the roster and maintaining his spot on the roster while Nico has been up during much of this time as well. Meanwhile, Chris Bryant has been bumped out of third base. He still had several games there at third, but he's played 5 different positions in the field this year. Third base, all 3 spots of the outfield, and he got a start at first base for Anthony Rizzo as well. All right, our This and That segment, a look at news and notes from around the league. 2 more no-hitters in recent days, with Corey Kluber scoring the most recent one. I believe it was May 19. That's 6 no-hitters so far this year, and that's not including that 7-inning no-hitter from Madison Bumgarner in that 7-inning doubleheader game. So I believe the most in an entire season is 8 no-hitters. A lot of talk about the league maybe needing to move the height or location of the pitcher's mound. A lot of people talking about the league tweaking the ball this season, making the ball to not travel as far. But I got to say, you know, when you watch the hitters swinging for the fence in every plate appearance, no attempt at small ball and racking up just simple base hits, I don't think the type of ball matters when players are trying to land each one into the seats. And the same goes for the height of the pitcher's mound or even the distance between the pitcher's mound and home plate. I don't think it matters when guys are swinging solely for the seats. Now, shifting gears, I'm not afraid to show my fandom for Shohei Ohtani. I think he's the greatest story not being told. He's tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball with 14 home runs. His work on the mound has been pretty good, too. If he wasn't playing for the Angels, there would be so much more attention given to him, just like his teammate Mike Trout being a killer baseball player who a lot of people know in name only. They don't really pay attention, as if he would be playing for an East Coast team, getting a lot more media attention. Angels are even overlooked in Southern California. Even if his production slows, assuming that he stays healthy, Shohei Ohtani could easily end up with more than 40 home runs at the plate and have an ERA under 3 on the mound for this year. I'm sure that's got to land him somewhere in the record books if those stats would hold. Don't look now, but the Tampa Bay Rays have won 11 games in a row. They put up 7 runs in the 11th inning on Monday. First time that franchise has scored so many runs in an extra inning frame. They did it with 2 walks, 3 singles, a double, and a triple. Finally, new power rankings on MLB.com. They come out weekly. Cubs move up 3 spots this week to number 15. They're still trailing 2 division opponents, both the Cardinals and the Brewers. Let's look ahead. Cubs are in Pittsburgh this week for 3 games against the Pirates. Looks like Jake Arrieta will get the starts in the series opener. That's at 6:35 Eastern Tuesday night. Same time Wednesday when Trevor Williams goes to the mound, and then Kyle Hendricks gets the call on Thursday. First pitch at 12:35 Eastern. All 3 games on Marquee Sports Network. The Cubs will follow that up with 3 at home with the Cincinnati Reds this weekend. And then they only have 2 off days in the month of June. So with Monday's off day now behind us, the Cubs are kicking off a stretch of 35 games in 37 days. That, my friend, is an impressively difficult stretch, especially when you look at who they are playing. It's not just the quantity of games, it's the quality of games too. At least one series against the trio of really good teams in the National League West, another series with St. Louis, plus a series with Milwaukee too, among others. And with that, we arrive at the end of another episode of the Bricks and Bleachers podcast. Be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your podcasts. All things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. Thanks for listening to the Bricks and Bleachers podcast.